here we are, uh, just barely into the new year. I'm gonna apologize a little bit as we start forward that I'm still got some raspiness in my throat. I'm still coughing a bit, so hopefully that won't interrupt too much of what we're going to do today. Um, and hope everyone's enjoying a fresh new frequency of a new year and all the possibilities that that brings. We have um, we have more than just the calendar to tell us we can start fresh in any moment, right? So um, today may it be great and new and fresh and fun for you in every way. Excuse me for this throat, for this coughing that may still come up from time to time now. Sorry, it's mostly gone. So a couple of times I've had some chats with Spirit, sharing with a couple of people, and well, they conveniently seemingly remove most of everything to have a great conversation and then lovingly return it back to me so I can continue to bless it on my own consciousness. This is a pattern that I've experienced with their wonderful gifts with me over the many years that they can and will shift most of the physical stuff according to their perceived need. And we have an agreement, I suppose, on some spirit level that I don't always realize that it's mine. I created it, allowed for this, and I've had a need to be present with it. So we go on. So let's see. Today I was going to share a little bit about one of my patterns or one of my themes that have come up in my journeys during the channeling. And it is a little bit what I would think as what is understood at times of people, mm, shamans and people well trained to be able to shapeshift and so forth. Because sometimes I'm in this state where I'm not my physical self, the way I perceive it. I'm either an animal or maybe an alien form, or maybe it's a past life. Because there are times when I'm actually very, very young in my body, and whether I recognize myself or not, I just know all these things that I witness within my expression in these experiences is something that I am healing with, becoming clear with, and expanding some state of oneness with. So that I think is a little fascinating in that recently I had an experience where I felt like I was a bug, like I was some kind of an insect, and even that kept shifting. So I was a praying mantis at one point, which I'm fascinated with, and then I was a ladybug, and then I was a spider, and then it was all these. It was interesting. I just kept shifting within my own awareness of my being. I was becoming one with all these. I don't remember being a cockroach. I think I could probably spiritually use some more healing with some of these ideas, but it's interesting to me. What I always find fascinating is that when I ask my guides for some explanation or expansion on my understanding, a lot of the response has to do with feel the experience and accept that those qualities that you perceive and those qualities that are real to the wholeness are what you're going to shift into. So anyway, that's kind of where what my some of my lessons and my journey. So um, well, I'm so glad that we get to share this again. I feel several weeks of not being able to be present with this has been a little sad for me because I just want to feel better, but I also want to continue the engagement. So I'm feeling energy moving in. So excuse the body, as they say. Have a blessed time with Spirit, and I'll be back to wrap it up when they are complete. Thank you. I am that I am, all light indeed in the violet flame. We dance And if you will be my partner, then we shall have a chance to be a realized, loving one, that you are not the separate, but there is indeed for all of us a wholeness and complexion. Thank you, my beloved friends. Saint Germain, I would want for you to know that this day we're going to speak of something a little playful with words, if you will so choose to hear it this way. The word today is grieve. Sometimes we associate in our human emotional body with grieve as the process of letting go of something or someone that was very dear to us and that we are missing or feeling sad or pain with, right? And yet, do you consider the word grievance or grievances? These ideas is about something harmed or wronged in your alignment of understanding of presence. When you have a grievance with something or someone, it is that you disagree, that you have a sense of feeling wronged or hurt, that you have a belief in perhaps at times righteous obligation to right it, to balance it, to be the carrier of karma wherever you can. It's not that grievances that you have perceived, whether it's with an individual or systems, whether it is with a customer service arrangement that did not go well, wherever your ideas of grievances lay, we are honoring that for you. And we wish for you to create in your playful heart a place to really heal that. To heal the grievances you feel. The places where, not that you have been left or abandoned in some way, disassociated like in a loss, as it is called, of a loved one, but in the grievance of feeling wronged, feeling at once and in union with things to be righteous. That you were right, something or someone else was wrong, and they wronged you, making you wrong, giving you grief over it, so to speak. Will you then be willing today to examine and to explore and have fun with the idea of all the motions that you go through when you have been grievanced, when you have been wronged, when you have sometimes more than one, maybe a multiple list of things which you feel need to be addressed. Let's explore how to play with that and to look at your responses and why you have these responses. What if, in now this moment, you can realize what was your last complaint about? Or maybe it wasn't a huge, big ranting complaint, or maybe it was a minor one. Excuse the form. Was it a political activity in your world? Was it someone saying something that hurt your feelings? Was it that you had even a memory of all of that and wasn't even real to the moment? Let's consider what was a recent experience for you where you felt hurt, wronged, shamed, blamed. Now, first go to this feeling, the response of sadness that may be underneath the righteous indignation over the grievance. That may be the front that is often portrayed in your world. When you have felt wronged, maybe it is that you ordered some wonderful thingy on your internet and a package arrived and it wasn't the same thing you thought it would be, or it was broken, or it was the wrong color, or something was not quite right. What's your first response to that? What if there's a moment where a neighbor's dog relieved himself on your property? What if it was a circumstance that you have been shopping at your local grocer and the cashier rang up a price that was not what you thought it would be? What are the moments, little, big, that you feel that that righteous indignation boil up in you? Even if it's just a little flare. It isn't just about how will you make your choice for the next step with it, although that's very, very important. But I want you to at least, if not always know the right, most aligned next step in those moments, that you can go into the space of your comfort in a point you consider to be later in the day or later in that time frame, to really feel how you were feeling about that. And where, in most feelings of being hurt, wronged, treated badly, spoken to out of sorts, and not really uh, recognizing all the loving being you are, something and someone, all those moments, there is a sense of, oftentimes, the feeling of a pang or a sting, a pain, but almost always in that, those righteous moments come about as your defense to protect that, to defend that, to project back to someone else what it might feel like to be hurt and wronged. Not every time, not every human does this in an automatic way, but many, many, many do respond with a feeling of hurt, with a sense of disagreement, disagreeing state of awareness, anger, revenge, things like that come up. And what that is usually the cover of is grief. As you usually think of grief, the sadness, the feeling itself of the hurt, all of that is your opportunity to be with, to find blessing in, to not be forgiving like it didn't matter, like some new level of righteousness that you might achieve, to be detached and, oh, well, it is not a well, it is, well, I am well. I am a well of love. I am a well of forgiveness and of peace. I am this place of realizing that as I accept that this feeling is valid and that I can heal the feeling by loving myself, by forgiving myself, by forgiving the whole patterness that might live in you, these things are setting you to the next moment of grievance to be, oh, well, all right, thank you. Let's fix this. No? All right, what's the next step? You look at it in a more detached and not emotional way. Whenever these things occur, the more you realign to that core of your feeling, an emotional feeling level, with a grievance that is an activity toward you, stimulates a memory of feeling sad, of feeling hurt, maybe of blaming the self, not being worthy, not being enough. And none of that is true, is it? So grief, as a process emotionally, has no limits, it has no right and wrong about how and when to complete the process you understand it to be. But first you must acknowledge that there's grief, or the feeling of sadness, of some distortion within your perception of who will you be without this thing working right in your world, without this person being in your life, without some job that you felt you gave your whole career to, and suddenly it has shifted and you've been left out. with your belongings. Many circumstances may feel that you have been wronged or that your emotional body feels wronged because of the incompletion you have with your own loving self. I know that there are patterns that many of my beloved friends are experiencing in this life where they have not just had a lover leave them or a dear husband, wife, child be deceased in their body and move on. These are massive understandings of grief, but many also have had deep friendships, longing for that to be part of you forever and forever, that get cut off. Relationships with family members, perhaps your children, who have cut you off for whatever their emotional, mental reasons are, and you are grieving, and you are feeling hurt, and you are feeling lashed out upon, and know where to go with remedying it with sometimes those individuals. So your grief and your grievances become mixed into a ball of unhealable, it feels, energetic stuckness. How can I go on? Many will say. I don't know who I am without this. I don't feel I can live. I'm not alive because I'm not a whole person anymore. I'm not enough. So, beloved friends, I am with you on the grief of all of those occurrences. And what a sacred thing that is. That your grief and your grievances can be processed, transmuted into a frequency of expanded love. Will you always feel the memory of loss? Perhaps. But you can go beyond the memory of loss in that you keep returning to the depth of its shock and pain. You can return to that place with a sense of acknowledgement. Wow, I have grown in this. It has taught me about who I am, that I am more than that. That whether I can explain myself, create the rightness of the wrongness that has somehow manifested, you can learn to be accepting of the whole being you are, of the core of truth that you are. So, in your mind, stay with me. In your outward speaking, shout it out. I am whole. I am enough. I am at peace. And these are not to say to others like, I shout it out so that you can say, ha ha, in your face. No, it is not for that. It is so that you look at yourself in your mirror of life and say, whatever the others feel of me or think of me is not who I am in its entirety. It is who they think I am or who they have created themselves to be in relationship with that aspect of me. You look at the opinions, the feelings of others, not to say, I don't care what you feel, but that I, whether you feel the wholeness I am whole. I'm becoming more aware of my wholeness. I'm becoming all that I am in my acceptance and awareness, in my forgiveness of these grievances of life. There's a common prayer that many use in mostly in the Christian traditions of their faith expression, that says by the master teacher, so it is written, that you ask forgiveness as you forgive others for their trespasses, it is often recalled. They're stepping over a boundary, right? When someone trespasses on your property, you know it's because there's a line that is understood to be yours and not yours. And when someone steps over that without invitation, they are trespassing. So to trespass is, in other words, to say they are grieving you. That's a grievance. There is an energetic disrespect and disallowance for the wholeness. So you get to experience that, yes, in life there will be individuals who will disrespect you, step across those boundaries. You can become clear about who you are so that your sense of boundary is not a fence or a brick wall. It is an energetic frequency that you continue to expand, creating the space, if you will, for the healing with others. So you have trespassed on others consciously, knowingly, and most of the time not even aware. There's a comedic phrase, did I do that? Why would anyone say that? Because it's a part of everyone's life to know that whatever you do that seems to offend, hurt, or somehow disrupt life around you, it's usually not your conscious intention to do so. Yes, there are moments when you want that revenge or that evil snap, but it is mostly out of unawareness of who you are in wholeness, or a loving awareness of who and what others are, right? So you trespass, you grieve others, consciously or not so consciously, as others have done with you. Imagine that your grief, whether it is a grief of genuine sorrow and sadness, or the grief of indignation, righteousness, grievance, meaning that someone has wronged you, no matter what they did, it was wrong, you were hurt, and they will pay, or you will at least get your pound of flesh for it. Yes, son? Well, maybe you're not even that revengeful, but it's about wanting things to be right, balanced, made correct, put back in order. It's how you will achieve that that will make the biggest difference in your world, yes. Common thinking, playfulness, we can say, in the world of your lives right now is to, with all forgiveness to those who go by this name and feel good with that name or will become good with it again, a Karen is someone who is in righteous ignorance, I'll say, about someone else's perfection, their absolute rights, their innocence. And looking for when the Karen, as they say, will go to the management of a company to say, you will make this right. You have wronged me. Well, maybe the management, the customer service will do its best, but it's a hard line to cross in such a way that that energy will allow for anything to be enough and right. Because why? That individual isn't feeling enough. Fill me, fill me, fill me. Tell me more, more, more. Make it right. Hmm? So we're covering a lot of territory around this simple idea today. Repeat again. I am whole. I am complete. I am enough. I am peace. So I'll leave you with these thoughts and with the energy of our love, which is fully transmuting those pains as you willingly allow this violet light to be in you, around you, absorbed into the transmutation, into the golden light of your wholeness and being of light. Thank you, beloved friends. Namaste. Mm. Excuse me. Hi. Well, I'll just briefly tell you that today I was brought before a a grave site. I don't know who. And now that I think of it, was it me? I don't know. I don't remember seeing a headstone or identifying marker on it, but it was definitely a mound in a place where I knew it was a grave. So as I was there, I was asked to just sit and put blessing, healing, love, forgiveness with what that represented, who that might have been. So I'm going to continue with whatever that was as my meditation today. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, a Wisdom Wednesday, a wacky Wednesday, a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And until next time, I say thank you for being with me, and I love you, and bless you.